Next up on the channel, he's just a kid from Brooklyn. We're looking at G.I. Joe Classified series Ralph Nunchuck Badducci, the way I got it figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, Classified fans? Where I got it figured back with another G.I. Joe Classified series review. This time we're looking at number 80 in the G.I. Joe Classified series. We're looking at Nunchuck, member of Ninja Force, even though Hasbro has elected not to do a subline with Ninja Force. They just kind of released Nunchuck. As I said in the intro, Nunchuck's given name is Ralph Badducci. He's one of the original Ninja Force members, and he was trained by Storm Shadow specifically. And yeah, you know, he's a pretty cool figure, as we'll get into here. So I got Nunchuck from Hasbro Pulse when they released them domestically. You know, I know people had him like almost like as early as maybe like September and stuff like that. I got him in December, one of those two. End of November, beginning of December, something like that. And of course, you know, while we're in the lull period, I'm catching up on all the G.I. Joe Classified series figures that I hadn't reviewed that I did get. So we're gonna look at Nunchuck. Of course, we're gonna start with the packaging. Here's Nunchuck's toy photography artwork. He's looking pretty cool there. Here's his inset of artwork and his loadout. Large picture of his portrait, number 80. Here's his QR code, should that ever start working. And on the back, you've got his loadout and tail of the tape. So he stands at 6.1 inches. Got a bunch of stuff. Some inserts that I don't really find all that interesting, weirdly enough, but okay. And then you've got his file card symbols. So he's got 2 infantry, 3 melee weapons, 2 ninjitsu, and 2 martial artists. So he's, you know, okay, I guess. He's not super highly skilled. But, you know, he is the youngest member of Ninja Force, and he is Storm Shadow's direct pupil. So, you know, he's still coming up in the world. Now, I believe my kids knocked over my G.I. Joe Classified series sort of pre-review bin that I keep everything in. So I'm missing one of his sort of ninja claws. But, you know, he comes with 2 of these, but I only have 1, unfortunately, for now, till I locate it. And getting a closer look at Nunchuck. He's looking pretty cool. I believe he's partial Storm Shadow. And we're going to look at his accessories, of course. So, of course, besides all these belts and gauntlets and things which are glued on, they're not coming off. He does have a combat knife, which I did show on the package. Steps in there. Grenades, of course, molded on. 2 swords with some nice paint apps on them. And of course he has his nunchucks. And his old, you know, what his sort of his job was Nunchucku Ninja. Oh, this also, I think, yeah, it comes off. It was like separate in the bag. A little sash on his mask. So, like I said, he's partially Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow's legs here for sure. Tabby boots. Pants. Chest. The arms are obviously not the same. He's got wrinkles here, so he's using some other arms, but he's pretty, still nonetheless pretty faithful to the Nunchuck from 1992. Gonna have to give him a hot water bath because this knee joint is definitely super stiff. I am not going to force it. Some notes on his articulation. You're going to find it difficult to get him in a true T-pose because the armor parts are going to restrict his movement just a tad, you know, well, not just a tad, but a little bit. His movement's going to be restricted just a bit. It's like this knee doesn't want to go either. I didn't give him a hot water bath, and I should have, so it's kind of on me. Guess what we want to do, since I neglected to keep my kids away from my stuff, we're going to store his nunchuck in the belt. So the nunchucks are supposed to loop into his belt, but they don't want to cooperate. So we'll give him his soul ninja claw for now. There we go. Got one of his legs to bend. So I guess if they make a Storm Shadow version 2, he'll come with these, because, you know, Nunchuck didn't come with these back in the day. but Storm Shadow did come with one. It's the same sort of ninja claw kind of deal. But yeah, he's a pretty cool figure. He just needs a little bit of a hot water bath to get him ready for combat. And I do like the colors. I like the camouflage. It was a little more thick back in the early 90s. But you know, he's a good looking classified figure for sure. So what we will do now is a couple of comparisons. So first thing we'll do is bring in 052 Snake Eyes. It says Nunchuck is 6.1 inches, but I thought Snake Eyes was 6.2 inches. Definitely looks about the same height as Snake Eyes. We hadn't had him in a video in a while, so thought it would be cool to bring him in. And then of course we'll bring in 035 Storm Shadow, another figure you haven't seen in a while. But if you look, you don't have to really look all that closely, but he's got the same legs, same pants, same gi. I wish I had a 14 Storm Shadow, but alas, I don't currently. Maybe sometime this year I'll get another one. But yeah, that's the closest we're going to get to a Ninja Force reunion here. So I'm going to move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on G.I. Joe Classified Series number 80, Ralph Nunchuck Badducci. So Ralph Nunchuck Badducci, Nunchuck, he's a pretty good figure. I do like him. It's hard to say you don't like a G.I. Joe Classified figure. They're really, G.I. Joe Classified Series is, you know, is all of it right now. And I think they did a great modern update on old Nunchuck. I do think that his weapon storage is a little faulty. You know, of course, you can store his knife, you can store the swords, but the way that the sword storage is kind of awkward and wonky. I'm like, the sword definitely is gonna get in the way of this and everything. And he does have a little bit of articulation, reduced articulation based on the armor plates. You know, that's not a, you know, obviously it's not a deal breaker, but it is kind of, you know, it's worth taking into consideration. The nunchucks are supposed to go into the hoops in the belt, but I could not get them to go in. I know Quick Kick's gonna be using this same gimmick, so we'll see how that works, but it's not the best right now. So, you know, all told, you know, while I do think he's a good figure, there are a couple of things that are sort of wonky with him. So I'm gonna give him an 8. Do I think he's a 7? No. You know, a 7 on the way I got it figured is definitely almost like a fail. He's better than a 7, but he's not good enough to be a 9. You know, despite the great pedigree of the Storm Shadow mold, you know, it is a great figure, Storm Shadow. And so he's got good bones, but some of it's just not coming off the best. So I'm good with that one. We'll say I got a figure rank of 8. All right, guys. Thank you for continuing to view the videos, and you know, all the new subscribers. I do appreciate everybody. Let's have a conversation. What do you think about Nunchuck? Were you around for Ninja Force back in the day? Were you sort of phasing out of G.I. Joe? I was on the tail end, sort of my G.I. Joe youth when the Ninja Force arrived on the scene. But I got them all. I had all of them back in the day. So seeing Nunchuck was definitely a little bit of nostalgia. So I'm gonna leave it there. If you like the video, leave a like. If you're not a subscriber, you're checking it out, want to keep it going, please subscribe. We need all subscribers we can get. And if you are watching this video, I want to thank you. You could be watching any video on YouTube, but you're watching this one, so I do thank you for that. All right, guys. The next G.I. Joe Classified series video will be Ripper. It's not going to be the next video, but he is the next one on deck. So stay tuned for that. Everybody stay safe. See you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.